Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game-changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
Sam Pruitt in the house. What's up, beautiful humans?
Today we are actually, this is technically a part 2. So if you haven't listened to part 1, we talked about like cleansing and detoxing and why is it and what is it about and whatnot. And this one, we're going to go deeper into our personal journeys, like what we've done, what we do, why we do it, our experience, all of that. So if you want to go on the ride with us and learn about, you've been doing this since your Ayurveda days of 20 years ago. I've been maybe 10, 15 years, but so, we're going to,
26 years ago.
wow.
Damn. It's a long time.
So just to catch you back up, if you didn't catch that episode, so detoxing and cleansing is what we're talking about. And it's our bodies need a reset, right? Like our organs, our bodies, the blood, the brain, we got a lot coming in at this body, right? Whether it's we're taking in the skin, our food, energetically, sniffing, environmental toxins. Like every time I go fill up with gas, I'm like, oh, could I just wear like some sort of, gas mask or mask to prevent that stuff, right? Because all that stuff goes in the body and it's got to filter it and do something with it, store it or release it, right? And so this episode could get a little, we're going to talk about some sensitive things like pooping and colonics and cleansing.
We love to talk about pooping.
Oh, yeah. And you've got a story from this morning, actually.
I know. I was just pooping outside today, like a little nature child that I am.
Totally.
Not because I wanted to.
Yeah. So I thought we'd started off with my first foray into cleansing and detoxing. I have a little funny
Cool.
story.
Then I'll share mine.
Yeah.
Yay. Let's do it.
So
Share time.
I don't even remember what the inspiration was.
Okay.
Was I in a group or something and we were talking? I don't quite remember, but I just know that in a certain, and it was actually right before the holidays. I think it went through Thanksgiving or something like that. So it was like that time of a year. And let's do this 3-week cleanse detox, right?
Bought this 0 to 3 weeks. Okay. Ambitious.
Did not know. Okay. Yeah. Didn't know that was ambitious. It was just like, oh, you go on this website. So I'll just say the name of the product because I still believe in it and I still use it. So it's Dr. Scholl's, Schulze. And one of his bigger protocols, like I said, this 3-week protocol is a 5-day bowel. So you focus on the bowel cleansing, then a liver, kidney, and then a bowel at the end, right? Bowel cleanse. And just a little about that. So if you look at, the bowels are, kind of where the trash is before it gets taken out, it's like, oh, everything gets put in there or whatever, right before it goes out. So he says, if you're going to detox and your body's going to release things from the brain or the blood or the organs, you want to have a clean system. You want to take the trash out before you sort of fill it back up with all these detoxes, right? Or toxins. So
definitely the toxins can get backed up.
Yes. And then you over-toxify more.
Exactly.
You sort of
if you're plugged up and you do a detox, where is the toxic release going to go? It's going to get stuck literally in the systems and cause other issues. Okay, sorry, I had to just interject.
No. And, some people, I didn't know about this. I'm a pretty regular once a day bowel movement kind of person, have been for my life. I haven't had lots of bouts of constipation or, more than 2 days ever, right, in my life. But there's some people that go days and a week or more, right? So
I have a 10-day record. I have a personal record. I have a PR in that 10 days. I was not like you. I was the pendulum, which is what they call IBS, but don't label yourself just as IBS because it's way more complex than that. And that is not okay to live that way. But it was diarrhea, constipation, swinging back and forth for most of my life that I can remember.
Wow. So very irregular. Yeah. Okay. Well, and there's whole protocols. So when you share your story, yeah. So anyway, so I was a regular person, I would say. So I think in medical terms, they say a bowel movement a day is considered regular. Maybe, yeah, like that. So the protocol is, it wants to get you to that place, right? Depending on, and his protocol is, it has this supplement that helps it remove constipation, let's say, or release things down there so that it can get moving. And so you're having definitely regular movements. And in his protocol, it's actually more than once a day, just because you want the toxins going and going and going, which is, it doesn't feel horrible. It's not like diarrhea. It just is like things are smooth and moving along. So 21 days. So did this, and it was a lot of like smelly ass teas. Like there's this whole thing where you get all these herbs. I don't know if you've ever been to a Chinese medicine kind of place where they make these custom teas for you. And if you've never done this, like anyway, it's a whole nother episode. We'll do that episode sometime. So you go and it's kind of like this bark and all this stuff, and you put it in a pot and you boil it for, an hour or something like that. And then you get all the herbs and all that stuff. And you just get this smelly, stinky, not great tasting juice, tea, whatever you want to call it. And that just helps put those herbs through your body that it needs to both detox and cleanse and whatnot. So so it was this tea. I think there were some vegetable juices, lots of water, supplements, herbs, things like that. So
And he sent you the protocol, right, in writing?
it's
Okay.
all, yeah, there's instruction. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, he's got it dialed in. If you just follow this, it's like a cleanse in a box for sure. It comes in a little box and off you go.
Okay.
And you've got to prepare yourself. Like I was like, okay, do we need, and this particular one, there's no eating, masticating, chewing, if you will. I think for the first 18 days or something, like the last 5 or something, you're back on a raw food diet. And I just found myself like wanting to chew and masticate. So I would eat like an avocado a day, just something, you get used to it. And it's amazing how much time frees up when you're not cooking all the time. Oh my gosh, that was one of the things. So at the end, 21 days, my partner at the time, we were like, oh, I can't freaking wait for this thing to be over. It's kind of like, if you've ever like been on people at the Christian Lent, where they Lent and they go off alcohol or 21 days of whatever. You're like, you think about it all the time. You're like, okay, what are we going to eat when we get off this Lent? That was like two of our favorite things, like beer and pizza, Okay, let's just say that that's not how you want to finish a cleanse. It was like big doughy pizza and beer.
Oh,
Little did I know.
bomb.
Oh man, tasted good going in. It was like, oh my God, hadn't tasted that, but yeah. So tell me your story. Yeah.
I will, but there's an interesting segue there, is that you're alluding to something we'll talk about at the very end, which is also the emotional experience, the psychological experience, not to be dismissed, that happens when somebody commits to this level of self-care and self-investment. First of all, massive kudos to anybody, including you, that has repeatedly invested in your health, mental, physical, spiritual health in this way. And then understanding that when you do something like this, of this level of commitment and process, there will be an emotional experience that comes along for the ride.
Sometimes roller coaster all the way through, right?
Oh, totally a roller coaster. Totally. And my belief is that you're peeling back all these layers, right? And then in this peeling back and releasing and allowing to come out of the body energetically, lots of things will be coming along with it. Okay. And then not just your relationship with food and your relationship with the world and food. So like who you live with, what your patterns of behavior are with that, your sense of your identity around food. I mean, there's so many, many things.
Where all these cravings come from, like the cravings you would get. And I was like, oh, and I noticed when cravings would occur during the day because I had patterns of eating, like mid-morning this or an afternoon snack.
It's all patterns.
It's all patterns. Yeah.
It's all patterns. I speak candidly about my drug of choice, which is coffee, right? And my like morning ritual at a local coffee shop that I go and I have this exquisite drink and I meet the people and I'm in the space and whatever. It is a ritual for me. It is a habit ritual. And with that, there is an emotional experience. I'm not just getting a good cup of coffee, people. So anyway, I wanted to throw that into the mix. And then riding the wave of all of that, knowing that you're unearthing things, just like you're unearthing layers of poop caught in your systems, and you're releasing toxins through your lymphatic system and through all of the systems of the body, circulatory system, etc., that with that will come some feels. Lots of
Yes.
feels.
Yes,
Lots
definitely.
of feels, good and bad. Woo!
Well, maybe now's a good time to talk about something I wanted to insert here that we didn't talk about in the first one was, a little bit of what I was talking about where, the first week is the bowel cleanse is like moving things through, right? Like, because if you've been backed up or if you're not regular, if you will, um,
Housekeeping.
housekeeping, take the trash out, people, let's go, is as the body gets permission
Mm,
to
mm.
stop holding on to whatever it's holding on to because it's regulating and it's taking care of all these things and you're adding more toxins in, it's just like right, it's storing it, it's putting it in your cells, it's putting it in your brain, it's putting in your fat, whatever, right? As you go, you know what, I'm gonna pause from abusing and just like polluting the body with diet sodas and fattening, whatever, when it gets the signal, oh, we're only getting juice or water or something light. It's like, now I have permission to let go of this stuff. I don't know how it knows, but it gets the message, right? So after like day 2, what you often see is if you're doing a proper protocol for more than 2, 3, 4, 5 days, is you go into this kind of slump, right? That's what I would just kind of liken it energetically, because the body's like, oh, I'm going to go to work now and push out or use the lymphatic system. And if you're not moving, you need to be moving so it doesn't just, so it like releases. And so you get, cold-like symptoms. Some people get like runny nose and coughs and just stuff coming out of the body of all, sweat, smelly, right? More pooping, whatever. And it can be kind of a draining feeling, so like your head can be foggy because the brain's like releasing stuff that it's amazing what gets stored in your brain. I had no idea, right?
Sometimes people get really sick, like flu-like symptoms.
Yes, full
Don't
on.
be surprised if that's a thing. It can be part of it. And
Hmm.
that's why in some of these instances, especially heavy metal cleanses and stuff like that, having a supervised cleanse is a good idea.
And I would say it's a slump, but it's not just like it doesn't continue to go down.
No.
Usually it's like day 2, day 3, the body's like, oh, we can release this. We can take the garbage out now. Okay. So it takes out all the little mini garbages and all the little areas that it's been storing it. It goes through the body, gets filtered, whatever. And then you start to feel better, right? Like then the recovery starts to happen. Then the clarity of mind, the brain fog clears, the energy comes back. You feel a bounce in your shot. I mean, like the amount of people I've seen that go through like a 5-day cleanse and just sort of like, see, and I think because I don't pollute my body as heavily as some people do, I don't usually have that like spring bound, where it's like a springboard, like I feel amazing. It's like, no, I feel good, still good. I don't have the depths of feeling horrible and because I keep it pretty clean in here, if you will. But some people,
That's why 2 or 3 days is not probably going to be a lot of people's experiences, but it
yeah,
will be yours. So like I'm healing a whole
yeah,
fungus and bacterial infection in my gut, and also could have been cleansing more regularly the last 5 years. I'd say like pandemic all the way
yeah,
through till
yeah,
now. Um, and
yeah. Talk about where you are and
was working on
yours.
other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my experience is much longer, the uncomfortable phase, we'll call it. But I recognize what it is and I'm tolerating it. But there are a few days that I've been like, I'm kind of fucking over this, excuse my French, because what I'm doing is really long in this instance because of the actual infection
Yeah.
element that was on top of a detox. So basically, I'm healing small intestine bacterial infection. There's bacteria and fungus. So there's really two things that have to be healed. And then on top of that, doing a detox. So I
Yeah.
still have another 30 days and I'm 45 days in. This is not what I would recommend people experience for the first time. And
Mm.
hopefully you don't ever have to have it become this sort of like heavy duty extreme thing.
And you had some, the symptoms you were having pre getting this diagnosed and addressing it. I mean, like you were just feeling bloating, you just were like jacked. Things weren't feeling good, right? And you're like, I got to
Oh,
do something. And then right when you started to cleanse, I remember your face got all broken
blistered.
out. Yeah, and
Mhm.
just blech, things were just coming out, coming out.
They're still coming out.
Taking the trash out, y'all.
Yeah, but let me tell you my quick story of my first cleanse. So
Mhm.
I was about 30 when I was really having significant health problems.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really the first go round, but anyway, when I had my real health crisis, mental and physical health crisis. So in that, I gravitated towards trying to heal my mental and emotional state as well as my physical body. So I was looking at things from a spiritual lens as well as a physical, holistic health modality lens, and just exploring and learning and trying to understand why this was happening and what was happening and all of that kind of stuff. So my path had a lot of layers to it, but it did lead me to the Chopra Center for Wellness. Deepak Chopra and David Simon, who's no longer with us, but Deepak Chopra, they founded that center. And I was studying at that time holistic health and Ayurvedic medicine as one of the possible modalities I had a curiosity about. So I went that path for my initial experience. It was completely supervised. It was a week-long thing. I lived locally, so I didn't stay at the center, but you can stay at the center and go through the practice of actually being there on site. But I just went every day for the 7 days and was there every day, all day for 7 days. It was freaking amazing. And I feel incredibly grateful I could carve out that time and have those resources to invest. But I was at a critical junction. Like, I needed to do something
Intervention.
Yeah, totally. It was a self-intervention, 100%.
Yeah.
Deepak Chopra is a lovely man, by the way. But so Ayurvedic medicine, which comes out of India, it's an old traditional medicine. It's all natural based, but basically they have certain belief systems. I was doing a cleanse that's called the Panchakarma detoxification. That's the actual name of it. And it's basically a clearing of toxins from the body. And what they do is they first put you through, there's an educational element, and you explore your doshas, which is understanding about Ayurvedic medicine. What kind of person am I in the world, in my physical body, but also who am I in this moment on this planet? How can I have a greater understanding for myself inside this human body? And then a protocol specific to my style or my dosha of being. So this might sound really woo-woo, but it makes perfect sense if you look at this stuff, and it's absolutely going to blow your mind. If you don't know anything about Ayurvedic medicine, you should definitely investigate this. So your doshas are, and based on my particular dosha at the time, I had a lot of moisture and heaviness. I was 50 pounds overweight. I was really sick. I was totally malnourished. I was barely even eating, and I had this extreme inflammation and weight and just dysfunction. I had so much stuff going on. It was craziness. So they took me through this educational process and then these series of protocols, which were, of course, nutritional based. There was massage, there was detoxification, there was different types of therapies, and there was a process of exploring yourself as a human being. So to me, that's pure freaking magic. I mean, by the grace that I even was able to be there and experience that, it totally changed everything about how I perceive the world. Yeah. And these things are readily available, not just things like that.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of this kind of stuff out in the space that might resonate with you differently or otherwise. So the goal was to eliminate the toxins, or they call it the ama, from the body. So the waste and that's not just the physical toxins, but it's the emotional toxins, right? These things are interlinked. So to eliminate those through the body and then rebalance your doshas. So you become a more balanced person, because health is a state of balance, right? And when there's an imbalance in a system or in a part of the human vessel, mentally, physically, or otherwise, that can cause disease state.
Well, the one, and I'll just, two things that reminds me of from my limited study of Ayurveda. One is they believe a lot in the fire in the belly, right? So our ability to digest, right? And if you get overly wet, if you think fire and water, right, you get mud, or no, you don't get mud, whatever, like it puts fire out, right? And so the ability to fire up the digestion and whatnot. So
right. And interesting, I had an imbalance of that, too much moisture, dampness, and then too much wind. which
Oh,
is the air. So it is based on the elements.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was no, I was either having one extreme experience or the other. And again, a lot of that had to do with my physical state, but also it was manifesting in my emotional state and in my
Mm,
actual lived experience.
mm, mm. Wow. And it
Wild stuff, dude.
so good. And a little bit of what you touched upon is how there's so much more that's known about cleansing and detoxification today, than, it's like
I mean,
neuros.
our ancestors and really humans who have walked
Yeah.
the planet way before you and I were even, I mean, okay, come
A
on. There's
speck.
so much wisdom, there's so much knowledge
Yeah.
in indigenous people, in other cultures of the world. I mean, and for us now in this year, 2025, to not have respect for that knowledge and wisdom is ludicrous. Like, if we could all become more aware of some of these very rudimentary, almost like historical practices
Mm-hmm.
around establishing health and balance. Again, balance
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
within our systems, internal and
Well-being.
external.
Yeah.
Well, that's the definition of well-being,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
being in
Mental, emotional,
balance.
physical, spiritual well-being, taking it
Yeah.
all into account. So good. Wow. So you did that. What are you on
And
now?
I've done
So,
lots of other things, but
well, and
yeah.
some of them I want to continue to hear about them. Like this episode is all about, like, what worked, what didn't work, what would we recommend now, and you've got a whole team that you've got right now. Yours are very supplement based, and there's not an antibiotic, right? Because you're not trying to kill off the bacteria, but you're trying to, like, flush it or something, right?
Well, it's killing it off in the sense that it's herb.
Herb
These are
driven.
herb-based
Okay.
therapies. So
Mhm.
they are meant to kill the fungus and the bacteria for
But it's not
sure.
an antibiotic or
It's not a
classic.
traditional pharmaceutical,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
hmm It's a
So good.
herbicide, basically.
Wow.
So yeah, over the last 26 years, I've tried a lot of different things, but I haven't always needed to or been ill, right? So it took me several years to recover from all of those illnesses, which I did naturally, and lost 50 pounds naturally, rebuilt my life, rebuilt my brain, changed everything, all
Wow.
naturally. Like, there
Wow.
wasn't any other source of fix
Yeah.
that the Western world was going to provide
You
me, and
didn't
I
go on
gravitated towards.
antidepressants or anything. Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
had surgery, never went on antibiotics. And I'm not saying that people don't need these things in some instances. Now, they absolutely do, and we're not, shaming and blaming. All I'm saying is, like, my path was different, and there's lots of paths, right? So for people, and I could, again, by choice and by grace, invest a lot of time and energy figuring this out. First of all, I'm
Mm.
incredibly stubborn, as you know, and I sure the hell was going to get down to the bottom of this because my
And
life was at stake. My
and
life was
study.
at stake.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was part of you, like, the path that your soul really wanted to be on, right? Like, was
Totally.
a higher experience of yourself. I mean, like, look where you are now, from not moving your body very much to moving it a lot, right? And from studying a little bit now, and yeah, it's created the trajectory that you've been on for these last 25 years. So
Yeah,
good.
yeah. There was a lot of reasons I was in those limited belief systems and old stories and things of that
Mm,
up until my almost the age of 30. There was a lot of reasons, but there, for me, had to be a significant breakdown in order to break through, right? Hopefully, the listener is not going to have to go through that.
get
You're
on the train
saying,
now. Get on the journey
yeah,
now. Yeah.
is these very simple 1 day, 3 day, you did a
Yeah.
21 the first day, I did a 7. Like, there's so many different ways to skin a cat here, right? Like, come on, people, you can really be thinking about doing this in whatever way works for your current life.
Mm, mm,
But to make this investment is really invaluable. So I've tried a lot of different things. I've tried some of the products that you've suggested and done shorter cleanses. A lot of times for me, what area will still break down will be my digestion.
mm,
And that's generally my, area of weakness, if you will, and my bowels and things of that nature. But I've figured most things out 90% of the time, things are working. But when they're not, I'm very attentive to small symptoms,
mm,
knocking at the door, and I'm quick to remedy them. Now, this current infection I have was from swimming a lot of open water, training for Ironman last year, training at a high level, also having a lot of life stress simultaneous. So it was physical stress, mental and emotional stress, lots of different elements, and then me not really being on top of my game with nutrition and other things that would maybe have helped me through the process, not with the infection ultimately, but with as severe as it got. Um, and I didn't really know that that's what I had, and I just was miserable for months. And ultimately, I changed doctors. I went to a functional medicine doctor, so I'm with Parsley Health. I'm very, very happy with Parsley Health and what they are offering the world. So if you're not familiar with them, check it out. And they do take insurance, so that's amazing. But it's functional medicine, so it's an integration of natural and holistic therapies with Western medicine and science integrated into practices that are root cause medicine. So what is the root of what is the underlying condition or dysfunction?
Mhm.
We're not here to treat the symptoms. We're here to get to the root cause, understand it, and then heal from the root cause up.
And starting with testing. I remember you did quite a bit of
A
testing to get
lot
to
of
the bottom of
testing.
this. And, a lot of times I see, somebody walks into, and I'm going to just poo poo on Western medicine, but they just say this and then they just give prescriptions. It's like, oh, here, rub this cream on it, whatever, and it's like, no, guys, go deeper, go deeper. So, and the person,
Anytime you're just placating temporarily a symptom, any kind of symptom,
yeah,
right? Whatever
yeah,
it is, whether
yeah.
it's like I've had these blister rashes and skin, whatever the thing is, it's a symptom, right? But what is
Hmm.
underneath, and it can be layers and layers of symptoms, is a root cause imbalance. Okay, it hasn't even become a disease yet,
Hmm.
hallelujah. But if
Hmm.
we try and and hopefully it doesn't become one, right? But
Yeah.
if we can figure that out, then we know how to heal that. And the body actually is freaking brilliant
Hmm.
at healing itself. It's brilliant. But if you ignore what is actually happening underneath all of these symptoms that you're experiencing and you just medicate the superficial symptoms, you're never going to feel great.
Hmm.
Never.
Hmm.
It's
You know,
temporary fix.
and it's something I just want to presence. I don't know all the studies and whatnot, but in Europe, I remember hearing about, I think it was during war times, and I'm not sure if it was in uh, uh, prison camps and Nazi Germany and stuff like that, but I think it might have been where there was a doctor and they didn't give him any medicines. I mean, it was wartime, like everything was scarce, right? Or seemingly scarce, if you will. And so, he was taking care of, I think, people in a certain block or something. And all he had was like recommending water. So he like just was like treating people with water and just giving the body a time with just water cleansing, if you will. It's amazing how the body would do its own healing, right? And there's still places in Europe that you can go to for cleanses and doctor supervised programs that are very kind of fast, like, like some, and I think every one of it, like I did when I went to Tony Robbins' Fiji resort and we did a 7-day cleansing and it was there was, I think I ate like a piece of pineapple in like 3 days or so, it was like, and not a lot of juices. It was very balanced with like what the body needed specifically, but nothing else, no extras. And it was very satiated. Like I felt great. The body was just like, okay, I know what to do here, right? When you get rid of all the signals of snacks and treats and your patterns of, throwing in all this stuff into your body that you think you need and satiates you, or eating your emotions or whatever. I was eating my emotions. When you get rid of that, like the body actually needs very little, if you will. So
Well, fasting is a whole other
that's a whole nother.
conversation. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of challenges around it with science right now. How it impacts women is very different than men and vice versa. So really do your homework there. Don't go into some
Yeah.
hardcore fast just out of the gate
Especially
without
supervised.
really knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it,
For sure.
right?
And
Mm-hmm.
especially that emotional component or support.
Mm-hmm.
So, we didn't talk, I just want to throw it in here. When I was talking about the bowel cleanse, the protocol that I used that first 21 days was herb based, right? So forgive, we're going to get a little graphic here, but these herbs that he prescribes, the only way the way it comes to me is imagine, your bowel is like a large sausage. It's like the lining of a sausage, if you will, 21 feet or 27 feet or whatever it is. And the way that his product seemed to work was like these herbs, when you add water to them, like they expand. That's what it seemed. It was like,
Especially the charcoal.
yeah, and it's like a pipe cleaner, right? So it's like, you've got something that helps keep things moving, and then you've got this pipe cleaner. So it's like cleaning the walls of your sausage to get all the things that get stuck on the walls of the lining of your gut and get right. And there's another way. When I was in Fiji, Tony is a big fan of colonics, right? We haven't talked about
Oh, I
colonics.
got that. Yeah, that's fun.
Talk about that. So if you've never heard of a colonic, and
Surprise.
you could maybe talk, so
Whew,
let's see how I can be not too graphic. So
good
it's
luck.
basically water pushed up in for your rear into your bowels. And
Some people
then,
know what an enema is.
yeah, but
So
this is
that's
like,
a superficial version.
yeah, this is like water goes up into your sausage tube, if you
Right.
will, and then you learn to like squeeze the whatever, and it flushes. And so, that,
You hold the fluid in there for a certain amount of time and then it
and then
gets
you can
released.
yeah. And so that backed up, the
But
pipe
like in
cleaner
a
is,
hospital setting or something, let me just set the stage a little
oh,
bit.
okay, yeah.
People will get impacted, constipated. It can be dangerous. And so they'll have them do, it's a very superficial thing. It's just called an enema, and they're little teeny bottles, and you'll push the liquid up there, just trying to break up the impact. That's not
Mhm.
at all what we're talking about here. Colonics are a thorough up the entire pathway, filling it with fluids. And sometimes people have done coffee and other things. Like there's different protocols around all of that stuff, but I've done the water ones. And basically all that water flushes in there and is basically pumped backward in the system, if you will. And then you hold the fluid in there for a period of time and then you release it. Again, you're trying to break down all of these things, like what you're saying, that are along
Clean
the
the walls of
walls.
the tube or the piping, sausage piping inside of your bowel system. And it's, and this is definitely not, there's no medical science behind this. You and I are just speaking from experience here. Like,
Yeah,
I tried it.
totally.
I thought it was,
Same.
I thought it was amazing. I was like, this, if there were colonics available more readily, I would probably be doing them, not all the time, but, and some people say, well, you want to keep a certain amount of diversity in your microbiome. So how much you do of this is, you know, we're not saying do this every week or every month, even, just like, it's an experience. Maybe try it and see if it feels better for you, or if you are backed up, or if you're like, I need something to really detoxify. This could be a more extreme measure for some people, but some people like this equipment, this machine. It's a colonic bed, I think it's called.
Mhm.
And then there's like mobile colonic people. Did you know? I was like, this is fascinating. There's therapists, colonic therapists or whatever,
Yeah.
that go to people's, or that you can go to their studio or whatever. And it's just, anyway, it's another protocol. So
All these options for people to explore
yeah.
depending on what's comfortable for them,
Yeah.
and maybe
And we're just speaking like
and
this is
starting wherever you're at. You and I didn't go into colonics out of the gate.
gate.
That's like years down the line where we're like, okay, and the next level might
Try
look like
something
this,
else.
or let me try
Yeah.
this other thing, or I have a curiosity about this, or
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah. And I want to talk about two other things that I was a fan of that I've tried that I still, do from time to time. So two, I would say, natural things that I learned about. One is the beauty of activated charcoal, which some people, if you put activated charcoal, and don't think of like charcoal like on a barbecue, it's like yeah, we're talking like, usually when you do it, it's like a powder, right? So like activated charcoal is like a powder. And the beauty of it is they say it's not an absorber, it's an adsorber, which means it has a
Extractor.
charge to it. Yeah, it's like things stick to it. It doesn't absorb it, it like sticks to it. So if you have metals or drugs or toxins in the body, when you take a couple tablets, or sometimes I'll do it just like at the powder and I'll drink it. It's not to be recommended. The tablets are way easier to go down, but I do have a powder that I can do. And so you drink it with a lot of water, and it just sends into the body a sort of like a beacon that's like, hey, let me suck all the, because activated charcoal in hospitals, they use it to, when somebody's taken a poison, they put it in the body and it pulls the poison out of people, right? So just know that,
Extractor.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Isn't that
Yeah.
even how it works out in the world?
Well, yeah.
You
Well,
know, as a energy, and
mm-hmm.
it's not a mineral.
And this is, and and you'll see, you see things these days. I've seen activated charcoal masks and toothpaste and all
Yeah.
this stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I could
The
see how.
toothpaste seems a little weird.
I've tried it. I've tried it. I'm like,
Have you?
oh,
Okay.
I've tried it many times. I'm like,
Okay.
okay. I mean, I don't know that I need activated charcoal in my mouth. I mean, your mouth does get very,
Bacteria.
yeah. So
Bacteria
it was
overgrowth.
cool. It was cool, But
What was the
I
other thing?
wheatgrass.
Oh,
So
wheatgrass. Okay.
here's a funny story. So I don't know if I don't know exactly what was going on. So in Tony Robbins, so I'm there for 2 weeks in Tony Robbins Fiji resort, right?
Yeah.
And
2 weeks with Tony Robbins. That's why you don't know what's going on, because that's how
no,
the whole thing is planned.
yes, yes.
Ba-boom! Nobody
So
knows what the hell is going on.
little do
What
you
did
know,
you know?
you're going to this beautiful place, and the first day they serve you this
Surprise!
amazing food. Like the first day was just like, wow, this is amazing. We're on Fiji, and people are
Paradise.
all this stuff. And then it's like, oh, and day two, we're going into basically a juice fast. And it was like, all this wonderful food's going away. What?
Uh-huh.
and then and then
Surprise.
so at I think it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can't remember. That might be too much, so I'm not quite sure to say recommend that, but at least once. So we're sitting at this table, and you get a wheatgrass shot, right?
Mhm.
Like a little shot of it, maybe like 2 ounces or something. And so I did, I think this was maybe the second day. Anyway, so the person next to me didn't eat their wheatgrass shot, and I was like, oh, well, can I have your wheatgrass shot? So I did a double dose. Okay. Within like 30 minutes, I'm in the bathroom on the floor, sweating. Like I was like, what is happening? And so like it was this flash, dude. Like, so chlorophyll, like, it's like a blood, it
Tonic.
just I had like I was like, okay, maybe don't need to do a double shot of wheatgrass, but it helped me see something's going on here. Like it like was like pulling toxins out. And I was like, and it was like 10 minutes, like it just, my body just needed to move through it. And I just kind of sweat a little bit and got a little nauseous. And then I was like, oh, okay, I actually feel better, So moved. Then I was like, colonic, please. Anywho, so I
Oh
still
my
am a
God.
fan of wheatgrass because you can get organic wheatgrass, at health food stores and stuff like that. And this is like cold press, like I do it when they press it right there, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the charcoal, what you have to be careful about, just so people think about this, is imagine it's pulling things, right? So if you take any prescriptions or supplements or whatever, you don't do it because it's
During
gonna,
that time.
yeah, like, and it's not like you do charcoal like a couple times a day, like so usually like 3 hours before, after a meal, and after your medications have processed and stuff like that, or your supplements or whatever you're doing, because it will suck it out of your bloodstream, literally. So just FYI. And then you want to talk something about the vagus nerve and why we like the vagus nerve and what you've been discovering, right?
Well, so we've talked about the vagus nerve before as part of your nervous system and a regulator between the brain and the gut.
Yeah.
And
Talking back
so,
and forth. Yeah.
yeah, it's the primary communication source.
How am I
Hence,
doing down here?
nerve running from the brain to the gut. Hello.
Yes. We should call it the
Obviously,
very important nerve.
obviously, it's a pathway.
The very important nerve. Yeah.
It is kind of fun that it's now like becoming mainstream conversation,
Yeah.
and everyday science is like really
Yeah.
exploring this, and everyday psychotherapy and
Yeah.
trauma therapy and like physical. So there's this really great sort of coming of age of
A
this
spotlight.
wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
Spotlighting it.
cool. It's so good. It's so good. So just Google vagus nerve. But what we wanted to talk about today in terms of it relating to detoxification is I'm doing a lot of research on my SIBO, so small intestine bacterial infection, small intestine fungus infection. Okay, so these are two things going on in my intestines. And by the way, I have since learned that about 40% of people with IBS symptoms, which is the catch-all for all the things, right, have either SIBO or SIFO, completely undiagnosed. It could go on their entire life, and honestly, it is going to wear down all the systems of the body. So this actually made me really sad for a hot second, because that just pisses me off. And really, it's because, again, Western medicine, it is a little bit hard to diagnose. And they love to put us, especially if it's just a primary care or a general medicine doctor and not like a gastro specialist or a
Yeah.
specialist in any other way, into this just giant bucket of, IBS or, whatever. Again, not dissing Western medicine. There's a time and a place, but like
Oh, I am. No.
we need to dig deeper. We need to dig deeper, right?
Yeah.
It can't just be my bowels aren't working, take something for the symptoms to get them to either move or back
Yeah.
up if they're diarrhea or whatever. So when I was doing this a little bit of additional research for myself and kind of understanding this detoxification process I'm in the middle of, that's going to last for at least another 30 days, right? So I have to keep unpacking it for myself so I want to make a point of this so I can stay committed to doing this. Because when you're in a long healing process, a healing crisis, and then a long healing process, you need to stay engaged in it.
Yeah.
So the commitment I made to myself is that I will heal this so it doesn't continue to degrade my other organs or the systems in my body that I so cherish and want for the rest of my life.
Don't just give up and be like, well, I've just got this. Like anybody that has IBS, it's like, keep going. You need to dig deeper. You need to don't just settle for I've got IBS. Like, sorry, something else is going on there.
Right. And there's a lot of connection with IBS symptoms and the vagus nerve and the nervous system and the dysregulated nervous system. Well, hello, most humans today walking around on the planet have a dysregulated nervous system. And the vagus nerve is the boss of all of that. So what I was, and I'm going to finish watching this. There's a Dr. Russo. I'm a big fan of him. I can drop it in the links. I found him on a podcast, and then I've since watched his YouTube. And he's actually a specialist in SIBO. So it's just kind of fascinating. This is his specialty. But he was talking about a lot of times the symptoms will come back. So I will get through this detox. I will heal this. I will cure this. But the bacteria or the fungus might creep back in and reestablish themselves because of the pathway inside the vagus nerve between my gut and my brain, actually reactivating the internal conditions that have to do with my nervous system and the communication between my gut and my brain through the vagus nerve. That I have become a host for this thing. Right? I'm a host. And believe me, bacteria and fungi are alive.
Yeah.
They are alive things inside our body. Our microbiome is part of us. It is alive. So it's like, think of having a garden, okay, and you have this beautiful garden and you're curating all these vegetables and all these flowers and everything's lovely.
Flourishing.
But inside the garden, there are, of course, worms and bugs and fungi and bacteria.
And some help,
and some are good and some are not so good. Right? So how are we going to weed out, if you will, everyone understands pulling weeds, from this garden that we cherish so much without weeding out also the good worms that we really need, or the good bugs that are moving around and pollinating and doing all the cool things, right? So it is a tricky balance when you're really talking about the internal systems of the body, and in particular the gut, the microbiome. So anyway, this vagus nerve is part of the interplay of all of that. And so I'm going to have to, after the rest of this, and probably start immediately tomorrow once I have the wisdom on what I'm going to be doing, also start to heal my vagus nerve at a deeper level. And I do have some protocols already for that I want to share with people. But what do you think about the vagus nerve?
Oh, yeah. Well, I just want to remind people when I think of it, in therapy world where I come from and, hypnotherapy and stuff. So the rest and digest, right? The sympathetic and parasympathetic, right? So fight or flight or your fight and flight, your fight mode, your response to stress is your sympathetic nervous system. So you get that, by design, this human animal is meant to do that occasionally, not constantly, not all day, every day, right? And what you're talking about, that vagus nerve helps us switch, between those into the rest and digest mode. So we can digest, the body can say, oh, I'm not sending all the blood to the heart or to the feet to run or fight or something like that. I can recover. I can digest this food. I can, be in the sympathetic. I would just say the state of peace and ease, right? Where that is our natural state, not a stress state or whatnot. So it's it's huge. I mean, and you and I've talked about like where it lives in the body, or it kind of pretty much goes like down from the brain head into our gut. It's right passing through like our chest. What is this? What's this bone like right in the middle of your chest? Chest bone, or I forget what it. Right in the middle of your chest, between your anyway,
Solar plexus
and it's just on the side of
or
it, and
solar plexus?
and you can just like do some touching. And really, the biggest way to activate that I've heard about is my favorite is the sigh. Ah, because that signals to the brain body, I'm not being chased by a tiger, because I couldn't be sighing if I
Yeah.
was being chased by a tiger. So that's my favorite, or 3 seconds of breathing, hold for one, sigh out slowly, whichever. It's amazing how breath is integrated with peace and ease, or that hyperventilating that we get when we have to get into activation or whatnot, or breathing at a normal pace, or a sigh, something like that can take us back and forth.
Well, the breathing part, because it runs past your diaphragm also. So when your diaphragm is restricted, and instead of being down here where it's supposed to be, it's up here in my rib cage, buried under my ribs, because I've been doing that for a long time. It can get stuck there in a contracted state. So box breathing is a good technique. And box is basically you bring it in deep, you hold it in an expansive way to open up the diaphragm.
Push the diaphragm down. Yeah.
Exactly. Push the diaphragm down, open that up, holding it as if you're pushing the walls out, right? You can think about trying to push out of the box, and then letting it out is a good one. And I've learned the hard way about that diaphragm stuff from my athletics, and putting myself in very high intensity and prolonged, hence the ultra life experiences. And I've had my diaphragm several times lock on me in sporting events, in particular in races, in ultra endurance events, where there was an intensity either due to the climate or the intensity of my pace and the extremes of all of those things. And then the prolonged breathing, right?
Not what you want to get. Wow.
Not what you want to get. And then everything can go terribly wrong, which it has done several times, which is another story for another day.
And then the brain's like, what's happening?
And then, of course, your brain's going to panic because of that. So I say that all to say that many people walk around every day like this. Okay. I knew I was in a certain circumstance and what was causing this. Even then, it jacked me up. Okay. But imagine that you don't know, you don't have the awareness, and you just walk around every day, right? Panting.
Yeah.
That's not a good situation. So breathing, cold therapies are great for this too. They tone the vagus nerve. So there's one thing that we're talking about, this breathing, which is like a relaxing and a calming, but it is a nerve that you also want to have a quality tone to, so it can respond appropriately when it needs to, and relax appropriately when it needs to. So if you think about a muscle contracting and then releasing, concentric reactions right within the muscles. So flex and release state. This nerve needs to be able to do the same thing: activate, deactivate, and have vagal tone, rather than it's always stuck up here at this high level and it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. You couldn't do that with a muscle. Eventually that muscle would just do what?
It's locked up. Yeah.
And it would just give out. Like it just can't hold forever. Right. Another one is gargling and humming. Actually tones the vagus nerve. So I can gargle. I've tried to gargle for longer periods of time. It's actually quite hard. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Because they suggest like longer aggressive gargling, which aggressive gargling, I just thought that was funny. It was like, but it's kind of hard to do for a long period of time. Humming is great. Singing is great. And I do love to sing, and I do know it calms the savage beast in me. I mean, I have a savage beast. I am a Leo.
Yeah.
Like, dude. And when I sing, I'm like, chill the frig out. Monitoring your HRV is a thing that can help you see what's
Heart rate
going on with your
variability.
nervous system. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's lots of things now, and they're going to become more and more things. It's going to become what I hope for us, for the world, is it becomes a mainstream conversation
Yeah.
in Western medicine, in
Yeah.
Eastern medicine, in everyday life, in therapy, in psychotherapy, in all of these places where people are coming to heal,
Mm,
not
mm,
just in the woo woo spiritual world, but like where people are coming in the everyday life to me through my work, through your work, through physical activity, through any kind of
yeah.
human contact. Okay. We're all part of the human species.
Yeah.
Humaning is difficult.
Mm,
And luckily, there's more to us, which is another conversation, right? But
yeah.
in this human experience that we're having,
Mm,
we're all made the same way, basically. So can't we just
mm.
start having conversations about these things with our kids, with our friends, with our loved ones? I mean, you and I are doing it here, but like, can it become more mainstream? It's really my hope for the world.
I was just going to say, if we could just get more and more of this to the mainstream, and I think we are, and it is, right? So it's not just the fringe that know about this stuff, not just the people studying Ayurveda, not just the
Yeah.
remote healers or, whatever. It's making its way in, which is beautiful. Um,
Thank goodness.
I just wanted to say two other things that I think about, and maybe there's more, but these two just popped into my mind, in the world of cleansing. So I think about my bowel as something that I want to just helpfully move things through, like just help it move through. And one thing I've discovered from talking with somebody who does a lot of cooking, a chef, is root vegetable, right? And you see this sometimes in some cleanses or whatnot. Cabbage I don't know is a root vegetable, but carrots, so carrots,
Cabbage is a carnivorous.
turnips,
Mhm.
anyway, so like root vegetables, beets, like
Beets.
beets, dude.
OMG, beets.
Beets
My
help.
fave.
Yeah, so root vegetables somehow have a relationship with the gut, that they're just like the helper. They're a helper to move the gut. So anything root vegetable,
Organic, please,
anything
because
that grows,
again,
yeah,
it's taking from the soil. It needs the appropriate soil to
yeah.
become a quality food product for
Mhm.
consumption. And then it needs not to be sprayed with chemicals,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
basically we're defeating the purpose. Anyway, sorry, I
Yeah.
had to
So
rant
root
for a hot
vegetables are
second.
anything that grow in the ground. So if you didn't know that, like it grows, so like carrots, you pull it out of the ground, turnips, you pull them out of the ground, beets, you pull, it's not something that grows on a tree like a berry or a fruit. The other thing is fiber.
Ha!
Oh, fuck, dude.
Okay, I'm just going to give a shout out to AG1 because so I did get myself to a point where I was pooping once a day. Yay me. And that was a huge victory considering for 35 or 40 years of my life, actually 40 years probably by the time I actually got to that point. So 10 years of like healing. And now I'm a 2 a day. I'm going to bragging about my poop.
I love it.
And that really just started with AG1.
Nice.
So it's a multivitamin, multi-mineral, and on top of that, there's a lot of fiber in there. So I'm just giving them a shout out because
Okay.
it's just part of my new regimen over like the last year, and it's
Yeah.
made a big difference for me. Now, if you can get enough fruits, vegetables, and all these things, great. But because my digestion is very slow and it is one of my
It
challenges,
needs help. Yeah.
mine needs support. And you might be one of those humans. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, so people don't have a relationship to fiber and what it is. I think we just need to spend a hot minute on how do you even like conceptualize for people. So I think of fiber as things that the bacteria, or sorry, all the little bugs in your belly can chew on, right? Like they're looking for sources of food. My favorite, one of the cleanses that I've done is John Douillard's Colorado cleanse. And two of the big things in his cleanse, I think that was a 7-day one, and I liked it also, is apples and dal, which is an Indian product, which is like
Turmeric
kind
and
of like a lentil
curcumin, and
soupy type of thing or whatever. I can't remember exactly what the
it is
bean.
lentil based.
It's like that, yeah. And beans, do beans in your gut. If you, well, yeah, whatever. Beans are a whole nother conversation. But apples, I think this thing was eating up to 5 apples a day was a part of it. And I'm sorry, I couldn't. Like I think I could eat 3. I was like, oh, But it's so don't drink apple juice. That's a fuck no. Like apple juice, no. Eat the
You
apple
mean
so
the
that,
anti-fiber?
yeah, the
Skin,
benefit of it, yeah, the skin. So
chew it,
I keep as
Skin,
much. So like, I
seeds.
see people like peeling a lot of things off, like, like they peel their carrot. I'm like, I eat the whole carrot. There's something I eat. Oh, kiwis. Kiwis, I eat the whole damn thing, the skin and everything, right? So all of that, the
That hairy
benefits.
skin, you eat that hairy
I eat the
skin.
hairy skin. I know. I can't remember when I started doing that years ago. And I was
You
like, now
barbarian.
I wouldn't eat a banana skin or an orange skin, but so it's the all like,
Again, you're going to eat the skin. So if you're eating the skin, I'm just going to point out it should be organic and you
yes,
should still wash it.
totally, totally.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So like I love grapefruits these days. I'm just kind of a fan of
Oh,
grapefruit.
are
And
you?
I look at all of the because I get these ruby red grapefruits. I just had one this morning. It was amazing. I was
Mm.
like I love the little bit of tartness, but sweet, whereas oranges can be quite sweet, ruby red grapefruits can be just a little bit of hang to it, if you will. And depending on in season. And what I love is I look at that ruby red grapefruit and I just see all the veins and all the stuff that my bowel is going to have to munch on, basically. So fiber is like all the, vegetables, the broccolis, the, beans, things that put something into your gut. It's not a powder, it's not the liquefied form, it's not ice cream, it's not apple juice, it's an actual something for the body so that's fiber anyway. And the other probiotics, people love to do this probiotics, but guess what, a lot of the probiotics, the enzymes in your tummy kill it, right? So just know that it's not doing what you think it is. But um pickled foods are probiotics, right? So pickles, like my favorite these days is red onions, like pickled red onions. Like I just love just eating those, man. I ate a bunch of those last night in my salad. Like, oh. So that puts good, I don't know what it is about pickled, like sauerkrauts, kimchi, these onions,
It's the
whatever.
fermentation. The
It's the
fermentation feeds your
fermentation.
microbiome.
Something, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's another, so it's like the root vegetables, I think of
Yeah.
it like going, it's like a little pipe cleaner. And then the probiotic foods, the sauerkrauts and things like that are like, hey, belly bugs, here's something for you to munch on. And the fiber, the apples and things like that. So
What I'm laughing about before we close here is just how you can totally nerd out on this stuff. Listen to this conversation. People are going to be like, who the hell are these people?
pooping and feeding their bacteria and
But what I want to point out is, and maybe that's my closing argument, if you will, is like once you start down the path of understanding how your body works, and in fact, the human body, you will find it absolutely fascinating. Okay, so honestly, we sound like nerds talking about the weirdest things here, but we're talking about you, the listener, and how your body works, sharing how our bodies are working. And can you think of anything more important as knowledge while you're in this lifetime? I'm super confused that this isn't our highest priority for self-education or education within the system, but let's not rely on others. Self-education for taking care of this and being here, and not just being here in zombie mode, but really being here. So
taking
that's all I got
responsibility.
to say.
I think some people
It's fun though.
get very
It's fun.
fixated. I think people get very fixated on the look. You and I are not about the looks, it's how it feels, right?
Apparently.
Yeah. And so, people get into fitness or health goals for the look of it. And you and I are like, let's get to the root of it, which is how you feel in your body. And do you have the vitality? Can you lift heavy? Can you be flexible? Can you go on that backpacking trip for 5 days? Like I'm very mobile right now. I have probably a 45-pound scooter that I'm carrying around as I move around. Carrying that motherfucker at 50 something years old, I'm like walking through these whatever. I'm like, it's like couldn't do that if we weren't healthy and vital. So I think if you get past the looking good of fitness and stuff like that, and you get to longevity and vitality and well-being, mental, emotional, and physical, you're going to bump up against the benefits or not, if you run up against the dark side of not detoxing, right? So you and I have come across this just in our journey, and we're sharing it because not to say, so one of the things I want to, before we close, is I want to just give them a little like nudge to go do something is, you don't have, you and I are not, you're cleansing right now and detoxing because you had something show up, right? So I'm not, right? So I don't do this like, we don't do
All
this
the
every
time.
day. I mean, we're conscious of it though. Like I eat things that I think about, like I've incorporated it into my life. Did I choose grapefruit instead of grapefruit juice because I love looking at that fibrous in the fruit and going, oh, this is going to be good for my belly bugs. Do I choose sweet potatoes because I know this is going to be good for my belly bugs? Do I choose red onions? Like, you wouldn't see me 20 years ago just going out and buying red onions. It's not like I had an affinity for them, but now I like have them in the fridge all the time and I eat them wherever I can, throw them onto things, right? So it just becomes a part of your lifestyle and your observation of how can I incorporate things that make my system more vital, alive, improve my well-being, give me the energy that I want, give me the consciousness, the self-care that I deserve, we deserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to go around into people's homes and like empty cupboards and
Yeah,
pantries.
well, you do that too.
I kind of do that.
Careful
but
if
not
Samantha
everybody
shows up
lets
at your
me.
house. Totally, which is so fun.
I'm actually more than happy to do it if somebody
I'll go
calls me
shopping
up
for
and
you.
says they would love for me to come do this. I am into it.
You
But
are.
just helping people just understand themselves better. And again, this one precious body
Yeah.
that they are getting to inhabit in this one precious lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting another one. Last time I checked, no one's rolling on in and delivering me a fresh one. Right. And that's true for all of us. So
yeah, put the best fuel in it, get it maintained, all of that good stuff. One thing I forgot to say, one of my favorite supplements to take in is L-glutamine. And L-glutamine is the rebuilder of your lining walls of your intestine. And we almost all should be on that, just like we should almost all be on vitamin D. Not shooting on you, but just look into L-glutamine. And lastly, I want to leave them with a little nudge, a 1-day or a 3-day cleanse idea, right? Like, think about this. So a 1-day cleanse could just be raw food. It could be like, okay, don't eat any processed foods, don't do any dairy, no alcohol, sugars, sweets, stuff like that. Just like maybe it's raw. Simple. It could be cooked too, but like none of the extra stuff, no sauces, take all that stuff out. And if you want to go a little bit further, and again, this is like follow a protocol, read about this. These are just simple ideas like maybe look into a 1-day cleanse, look into a 3-day. A 3-day could be some of the things that we talked about with the bowel cleansing assistance, to just help the body move. And sometimes it's just not taking in all the extra, all that extra junk that we sort of throw in our mouth haphazardly, right? It's like, let me clean that out. And most cleanses, definitely sugar, alcohol, meat, and dairy are usually off the table. So
and gluten.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so let's say that again. Alcohol, sugar, dairy, meat, gluten. And gluten. So anything of those, anything else, keep it on the table, and not processed. Like don't buy store-bought pasta sauce or something like that. Make it from scratch, or, go juices if you want. You want to go look into some of the products that we've talked about. I'm sure Deepak Chopra still has stuff, I'm sure, and Dr. Scholl's,
yes.
herbdoc.com. He's got a great website, all kinds of stuff, and Colorado Cleanse, lots of, and there's so many. Dr. Hyman on YouTube is great, Hyman. He's got great protocols and ideas. So I think we've
just get started, people. Just get started.
Do not leave the scene of this episode without saying, I'm going to take on something, whatever that is. What are you going to do? That's your invitation. All right. One thing, anything else to say? Any last minute?
Let the emotions fly.
All right. What do you want to remind our humans that we say at the end of all of our episodes?
Oh, goodness gracious. How your life feels is so much more important than how it looks.
Yeah. And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.